Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Kirrilly Falivene discusses people-pleasing and how it can impact our self-worth, our relationships and our confidence in episode 84.
So through a lot of the discussions that I've had with clients, we've realised that it's not just it doesn't just happen in your personal life, that it happens, it can play out in your professional life. So what I'm going to be doing is going out to businesses and start talking about how people pleasing does present in the workplace, how it might, hinder your ability to show up for yourself, to have those difficult conversations, to have boundaries, to care for yourself, because there's so much stress that people are under these days. I've realised that I need to get that message out into businesses and help people understand, how it can be affecting them and how they can manage their stress. If they can manage their people pleasing, they can also manage their stress levels.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to the Healing Through Love podcast. I'm your host, Charlene Lynch from charlenelynch.com. Healing Through Love is here to help victims and survivors of family and domestic violence find their way back to living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. We interview experts and survivors who share their personal stories and offer advice to those who've experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their healing journey. As well as the Healing Through Love podcast, we hold annual Pamper Days here in Adelaide, South Australia, for survivors of domestic and family violence. Our local businesses come together and pay it forward by providing their services and resources for a day to give our survivors a much-deserved day of indulgence. Think day spa on steroids. And we're looking for organisations with similar values. So if this feels like an alignment for you, reach out to Healing Through Love. I'm so excited to say that as of May this year, we actually went global and now have 8 Pamper Days being established around the globe. So our mission is to raise that number and have them really in every city in the world. So I'm excited that you're here with us today. And every week we have an amazing guest. And today is no difference. We have a very special guest with us today. We have Kirrilly. Now, she believes we are all possessed. Kirrilly. Hi. And we've got a very special guest with us today. I'm very excited. We've got Kirrilly with us. She believes that we all possess the self-healing powers of acceptance, wisdom, and love. As a counsellor and psychotherapist, she has provided counselling for a number of not-for-profit organisations, both in the UK and also Australia, and now runs her own private practice, focused on supporting women and teenage girls. As a specialist in interpersonal trauma, Kirrilly sees her role as a healing facilitator, helping clients recover from their past traumas and growing into empowered, self-aware individuals who own their own worth, live their values and speak their truth. I'm so excited to have you with us today. Hello, Kirrilly. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Charlene. How are you?
Magnificently magnificent. We've had some storms here in Adelaide today. So we were discussing that before we press record. Now, Kirrilly, I have to know, this is a very unique space to talk with people in and around people pleasing. And, it's we toss it around like it, but it really is much deeper than that. And there must be a reason that you've chosen this very niched area to help people in. So are you okay to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. I realized as I was doing my studies and becoming a counsellor that I was a people pleaser, that it's something that I developed through childhood, and it had really quite negatively affected my life. I had always thought that I was a really kind, nice person. I would go above and beyond for people and always put other people's needs above my own. And I found that that was actually really affecting my self-worth, the quality of the relationships that I was having, and my authenticity, that I wasn't really knowing who I was and what I needed. I was gaining too much self-worth from externally, that the external validation of how others saw me. And the more I spoke to other women, the more I realized that I wasn't alone, that it was very common. And it really can have a huge effect on us. So it's something that as time's gone on, I've become more passionate about. More women I talk to, I realize that there's so many of us that need help with it.
It's so true. As a woman who's recovered and moved through domestic and family violence, on the other side is that if I'm a good girl, it won't happen. If I make you happy, then everything will be okay. And so we hold ourselves in that low frequency, like almost like begging, wanting attention from others and wanting to put their needs before ours. And like, it's so powerful to now stand in your own authority and help others do the same thing. That's amazing. How are women going to know if this is them? How are they going to be able to put the pieces together to know that they are a people pleaser and that they need to seek your help, Kirrilly?
That's a great question. I find a lot of women will come to me when they're extremely stressed and anxious. And when I start asking them about their lives, they will tell me that they're so busy, that there's so much on their plate, that they're worried about what everyone else is saying or doing. They're always asking for advice and feeling confused, or they're exhausted because they're doing so much. And that's when I'll start to ask them, what do you want? What do you need? And they'll struggle to actually know that, and know that they just want to make everybody happy. So when I start saying to them, it sounds like you might be a people pleaser, you can just see that they're like, oh yeah, God, that is me. Absolutely.
So if you have these challenges, then, and you haven't considered this type of therapy before, then this is the place to start. Now, can we dive in a little bit into like how you help people? Is it a talking therapy? Like, can we dive into a little bit of that? What does it look like?
Yeah.
What does a session with you look like?
A session with me it's very relaxed, very informal. It's really important that all my clients come to me and they feel safe and they feel heard. I think often that's the other problem with, as a people pleaser, we can be that person that's there for everyone else and people aren't there for us. So I really say to my clients, when you come and sit with me, you're the center of attention. I'm going to listen to everything that you have to say and your feelings matter. So we'll start to give them that space to be themselves, to say what they want to say, and then start getting back in touch with their needs. And often women don't even know what their needs are. It might be so external. Oh, well, I want to make everybody else happy. Well, I don't want to let people down. But they won't know how to care for themselves. So a lot of the work that I do is about self-care, about understanding what you need and how you can give that to yourself, and how to prioritize that, and that's okay.
Yes, and boundaries.
Yes.
A foreign word which just used to mean fence lines to me. And then out the other side of being a people pleaser, I understood what boundaries were. I love it. So this is a challenging time of the year for us people pleasers, unreformed, and that is Christmas. So Christmas just looks like a little bit of a nightmare, because we just want to make sure that everyone's happy. And then at the end of the day, we're the last person to have a hair and makeup sorted, if at all. And, we've got everyone else's gifts organised, and we just want to make sure that everyone else feels amazing. And we come out the other side not feeling amazing. So for this getting ready for Christmas, can we have a conversation now about people pleasers and what some tools and techniques or strategies that we can help so that we can get through this and still keep our hair? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's being able to sit and ask yourself, what kind of Christmas do I want? Not what's going to make everybody else happy, but what kind of Christmas do I want? What do I need? And if it is that you need something a little bit quieter, if it is that you want to be able to enjoy the day, then it's being able to ask others, say, hey, would you be able to do, you know, the turkey? Would you be able to do this? You know, asking people to help. And maybe thinking about, well, what can I manage? Maybe I don't want to do a 30 people Christmas. Maybe it is that I want to have a smaller Christmas, and being able to articulate that. I'll often write things down or encourage my clients to write down what they want to say, and we'll even role play conversations so that my clients have that language. I think that's really important. Often we don't know how to set our boundaries. So practicing and have something written down so that when you speak to somebody on the phone, you can say, look, this is the Christmas that I really need this year, and I'd love you to be involved in this way. And, you know, phrase it so that you are getting your needs met.
These are wise words. I hope you're writing them down. If you're listening today and you yourself are a people pleaser, it might be someone in your proximity, or it might be one of your children that needs to hear this and have a conversation with Kirrilly in and around being a reformed people pleaser. I often think of the movie Runaway Bride, and I remember the first time I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm the person that doesn't know how she likes her eggs because it depends who I'm dating at the time, or, you know, where we go on holidays really depends on the people that I'm with. It's not, where's your favorite place? Well, I don't know, where's yours? So I just, that movie, Runaway Bride, I can't even remember who's in it, but just that movie, I just remember it did make me think about, I need to have a closer look at myself and how I need to move forward more powerfully. Wow. So you talk obviously in and around women having this challenge, but is this something that can happen for men as well? Or is this just exclusively a female challenge?
It's absolutely can be something that men experience. I mainly work with women, but I do occasionally work with men. And often it's because they have read, you know, they've gone to my website, seen what I do, and they've experienced that themselves. And that can come from, you know, having quite overbearing parents. Maybe they are the more kind, sensitive son, and they've found that they have fallen into that pattern of being the good boy, the good quiet boy that does as he's told. And maybe they are more sensitive and they may have been shamed for that by other parents. And so they do come to me and need to start working on those boundaries, because they can find themselves caring for others or be in dysfunctional relationships as well.
Yeah, so true. So for the mothers and fathers that are listening to our podcast today, this might be a challenge that your children are having. So Kirrilly, can we dive into what could, as a parent, you might notice about your children if they are a people pleaser?
Yeah, I think it would be kids always saying, I don't mind, if you ask them even simple things like, what would you like for dinner? Or if you take them out to a restaurant, if they say, oh, I don't mind, or I don't know, creating that safe space for the child to say what they want is really, really important. That it might be with their friends as well, that they're always going along with friends, or they're saying that their friends aren't nice to them, but they're not able to do anything about it as well, that you might find that they're quite almost paralyzed with fear about speaking up. They may feel that their friends dominate them a lot, and they don't know what to do about it, or that they're afraid of confrontation. I know myself as a child, I was terrified of confronting friends and standing up to friends, and I would catastrophize. Oh, we'll have an argument, they won't want to be my friend anymore. So that's probably something else to look for, a child that might catastrophize and worry about things a lot.
Wow, it's all intrinsically linked, isn't it, really? And then I know that I had health issues that were connected to my challenges with people pleasing. So I think it's not just about what we think, it's also how we feel and how that then manifests as different challenges. Like, I'll give you an example. So I had asthma. And so what we know about the frequency of asthma is that it's attached to loving yourself. So as a people pleaser, the love for yourself, we say that we love ourselves, but really it's just an external thing. It's not happening internally. And so that manifests as, for me, it manifests as asthma. So when I learned to love myself on a different level and really just wholeheartedly loved myself, then I was able to really manage the challenges in and around the breathing. I love it. So you've got a book that's come out, and I'm absolutely fascinated because it's a really unique book, and that's My Healing Journey, that is available, listeners, on Amazon. Can we dive in and have a conversation about the book?
Absolutely. The book was born out of so many conversations with my clients where we were on a healing journey together. And I found that there were certain elements that had worked for me on my own journey and that I began sharing with clients. And talking about people pleasing, that's where it starts. So I've kind of combined a workbook and a journal. So the first third of the book has lots of information about people pleasing, about your inner critic, about reconnecting with what I call your true self, which I'm super passionate about, because I think as people pleasers, we get detached from that true self. That's that gut instinct that we all have inside us. I know for me, I really detached from that as a child because I used to think that there would be that instinct that would say, I don't like that person, or I feel uncomfortable. But then this voice would come in and say, oh, no, you can't say that. That's mean. Or you need to be nice. So getting back in touch with that true self is so important. So the workbook starts to explain that to people. There's different elements that they can learn through experiential learning in those first 30 pages. They can get to know themselves better, understand what their values are, stand up to their inner critic, get back in touch with their true self, and work through those first pages. And then there's a daily reflections and a self-care page that just go on each day, so you can use them and make sure that you're in touch with how you're feeling and how you're caring for yourself, because I think that's so important.
And so needed. I love it. And it's available on Amazon. Is that right, Kirrilly?
Correct, yes.
Oh, I love it. Fantastic. So yes, I think they should be under everyone's Christmas tree for themselves.
Yes.
As your own Christmas gift. I love it. So I understand that you're working in a space of working with groups of people as well. And so in 2024, this will be something that's available for the general public. Can we dive in a little bit more to have a look at what does it look like to be in a group environment, to be discussing this people pleasing?
Yes. So through a lot of the discussions that I've had with clients, we've realized that it's not just it doesn't just happen in your personal life, that it happens, it can play out in your professional life. So what I'm going to be doing is going out to businesses and start talking about how people pleasing does present in the workplace, how it might, hinder your ability to show up for yourself, to have those difficult conversations, to have boundaries, to care for yourself, because there's so much stress that people are under these days. I've realized that I need to get that message out into businesses and help people understand, how it can be affecting them and how they can manage their stress. If they can manage their people pleasing, they can also manage their stress levels.
So true, so true. As a recovered people pleaser myself, Kirrilly, the difference is it's just standing in your own power and being able to say no, what was that word? I didn't know that one before. A new concept, no, as with boundaries, well, what are they? So I love it. So much to learn. And If you're listening today and you think, oh, could I be a people pleaser? Well, you know what? That's all that it takes, is that level of curiosity to find out and have a conversation with Kirrilly to see if this is the sort of work that you need to do to live your best life, to step into your power, and to really make a difference for yourself, to live a stressless life, and to live a life that you deserve. It's amazing on the other side, and working with Kirrilly does make all the difference. So excited for everything that 2024 is going to be holding for you and your business expansion, and it's just absolutely fascinating. So when people want to reach out to you, how do they get hold of you, Kirrilly?
They can go to my website, theinspiredmind.com.au. They can also find me on Facebook and Instagram under The Inspired Mind, and they can, email me as well.
I love it. And all of Kirrilly's links are going to be in the show notes and also the show description as well. So you can just click on that link. It's fantastic. So now, where is your practice actually held? It's here in South Australia, isn't it, Kirrilly?
It is. I am in Norwood.
Just around the corner. I love it. I love it. There's so many great places to have coffee in Norwood, just saying. Great places to shop as well. There's some major construction happening on the parade at Norwood. Oh, so that means car parking is an issue. It's at a premium. I'm sure that's going to be finished sometime soon.
Yes, hopefully. We are on a quieter street. We're on William Street, so we've got some good off-street parking. It's a little bit quieter, so we're lucky there.
It is a lovely suburb, so close to Adelaide, and still with so tree-lined streets. It just feels like you're not in suburbia. It feels lovely. I do love Norwood. It's a great place to stop and shop and eat. Three of my favourite things to do. I love it. Kirrilly, this has been a beautiful conversation to unpack what does people pleasing look like, and for how you know that you're a people pleaser or your children. And then also the things that we can do to move forward. I love the journal idea, something interactive, not just reading, but actually doing, so that you can shift from where you are and lift that level of awareness, so that you can see, well, these are my patterns of behavior that I'm having, and how can I shift those to live a more empowered life. I just love that. I think it's amazing. And also the group work as well. And the fact that you're a local girl. Oh, I think that's amazing. I love it. And we'd love to have you at the next Pamper Day. And, if there's some way that you can be speaking with the people that are coming along, or somehow facilitating with them, whatever it is that looks like, we'd love to have you in our proximity for our next one. And ours are normally in May, because that's our domestic violence month. And so we normally have them in May. And I'm excited. It'll be close to you. The next one's in Eastwood, so that's not far from Norwood. It's lovely. Wow, I'm closing, Kirrilly. I just would really love you to share some words of wisdom to our audience today, directly from your soul to theirs.
Absolutely. What I'd like to share is to everyone that remembering that your needs matter. And when we can free ourselves from the need to please, that's when we can give ourselves permission to let our needs matter.
Is so powerful that when we put ourselves first, and we can actually, what is it they say in the airplane? You've got to put your own mask on first. And we hear that every time we fly, but how often do we actually live that? Moving forward. Kirrilly, it's been a fabulous chance to have a beautiful conversation with you, and I'm sure this won't be the last time. I'm looking forward to having you come back as a guest as well in 2024, and dive in deep to what the group programs look like, so we can have a conversation about that.
I'd love to.
Oh, we would absolutely love that, Kirrilly. In a world where shadows often fall in the corners of our lives, there is a beacon of hope, and that is Healing Through Love. We're a community dedicated to shifting awareness of domestic and family violence and transforming pain into empowerment. Every story matters. Every voice can make a difference. Join us as we journey together towards healing through love. Your support, your voice can light up the darkness. Healing through love, because everyone deserves a life free from fear. Together, we can make that a reality. That's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from Kirrilly.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.